profile, and we are live from Gradvine's YouTube channel as well. This is, of course, an ask us or ask me anything session where you can ask me questions related to anything with respect to master's programs, undergraduate programs, college applications, career guidance, profile building, whatever you please. And I'd be happy to answer all your questions as we go along. The session should last about 30 minutes or so. As with all of our live sessions, in the end we end up not being able to answer all your questions. I suspect this might be the case today also, but we'll try our best to answer all your questions. But if we are not able to, you can always scan the QR code, which is I believe on the right side of your screen, or the left side. Wherever it is, you can scan it and schedule a free consultation, or you can use the link that my colleague Nilesh is putting in the comments, both on YouTube and on LinkedIn. So yeah, use the chat box or the comment section in LinkedIn or YouTube to ask your questions, and we'd be happy to answer them. All right, I think we're seeing questions streaming in already, so don't hesitate to use the chat box to ask all your questions. The next 30 minutes are dedicated to you and clearing all of your queries. All right, so the first question has come in. How is George Mason for data analytics? It's a decent school. I wouldn't say it's among the best data analytics programs. Location wise, it's decent. Reputation wise also it's okay. Whether it's good for you or no really depends on your profile as well, but overall not a bad school. I'd say it's a decent program. All right, is it worth doing an MS if you can directly get a job in foreign, I'm assuming abroad, if there are options? Okay, so the question is essentially, can is it worth doing an MS if you can just get a job abroad straight away? If you can get a job abroad straight away, then sure, then maybe doing an MS may not make as much sense, but it is very difficult to get that job abroad straight away, right? Most people use a master's degree because it's a way into the country, and also it's a way into the recruitment system for various companies. The other thing is having a higher degree or a master's degree from a reputed school really helps your network and will help you navigate and jump through jobs, right? So a master's degree has its own value, but I'd say purely if you get a great job opportunity abroad, then maybe you don't even have to do a master's degree, but you'll have to evaluate it on a case-to-case basis. We can't give a one-size-fits-all answer for the same. How is NCSU MEM? All right, NCSU MEM is a terrific program. I really started to like the program over the last few years because it offers you everything. It's a great school. NCSU is a very underrated school. In the US and all over the world, North Carolina State is a very well-reputed university. It's a very good curriculum. So North Carolina State offers flexibility that very few programs offer. You can do a build your own track where you can take any electives that you please and get an education that is very tailored to your needs. Or even if you don't do that, their core tracks are fairly flexible. The location is also fantastic. It's in the Research Triangle Park. And yeah, like MEM programs are expensive, but compared to other MEM programs that are of similar reputation, it is typically a little more reasonably priced also, I would say. But a very good program, NCSU, I would say. All right, how about MEM in Missouri University of State and Technology? My friend, I've not heard of this. I'm assuming, I didn't even know there's an MEM program there in Missouri. And if I don't know of an MEM program, it's a little worrying, to be perfectly honest. It doesn't sound very promising. I wouldn't do it. All right, what are some of the best for data analytics? There are a wide variety of very good data analytics and business analytics programs. Purdue has a terrific program. North Carolina State has a great program. UCLA, UCSD both have great programs. University of Minnesota Twin Cities has great programs. If you want to look at a safer option, Northeastern is a very good program. So there are a lot. How many days should I spend for writing an SOP? Again, to be perfectly honest, it depends on person to person. See, honestly, I've had people who've signed up with us who finished an SOP in 2 days and then they got into the top 5 schools for their program, right? So it really can't say how many days are good for writing an SOP. If an effective SOP can be done in a couple of days, sometimes it can take even 25, 30 days, right? What you have to do is you have to budget enough time. I'd say for the entire application materials, you should budget at least around 30 to 45 days at the very least, so that you make sure that there are quality documents coming out. In fact, for all of the people who are listening in, their students have been educated with that. Their starting process is a lot earlier, and we are glad, right? Because that's the systemic change we wanted to bring in terms of the thought process of students who just tend to do things last minute. So just last month, we had over 110 enrollments of paying customers at Gradvine, and we are upwards of 300 odd students who signed up with us and are in the thick of the application process already, right? So that is already 300 odd people getting the Gradvine advantage, which is quite unparalleled, pretty much, in terms of the application materials and the kind of universities that they're targeting, right? So they're starting early, they're giving themselves time, and they will have favorable outcomes because they're planning well. So all of you who haven't done it, please start the process early. Again, SOPs can be done in 2 days also, but you need to budget at least 45, 60 days for all the application materials, SOP, LORs, diversity statements, resume, to make sure that you have enough time to get great results in the end. So that's over 300 students and just 110 last month itself who are getting the Gradvine advantage. You can schedule your free consultation call and find out how you can sign up with us to get that advantage in your applications as well, right? All right. Again, the questions about Missouri State, how will the opportunities and brand reputation be? It's not very good. Like, honest to God, I've not heard of the university unless you type the name wrong. So I'm just being genuinely honest here. All right, got 107 in TOEFL. Does it make sense to give it again, to take the listening score above 25 and overall score above 110? I've cleared the cutoff for all universities. Forget about it. Don't take it again. If you clear the cutoff even by a single point, it doesn't matter by how much you clear the cutoff. How is NYU Tandon for MS in CS? It's a very good program. It's not as good as the Courant program, of course. NYU Tandon was formerly NYU Polytechnic, which was merged into NYU. I think almost about 8-9 years ago now, if not longer. It's a very good program, good location, but expensive. But it's a good bet. If you get in there, you should be happy going. How about MIS in the Netherlands? My first option is the USA, but want to consider a second option too. Suggestions for the IT job market in the Netherlands. Look, Netherlands has a strong, tech and startup, ecosystem. So job opportunities are great. If you go into MIS, then I wouldn't typically call it IT. Maybe if you shift to the product side, there are good opportunities. Anything in analytics, engineering management of information systems in the Netherlands is a decent bet. So you can keep that as a plan B, and it's a good plan B to have, for sure. What is a good program for industrial engineering? There are lots, right? Of course, Georgia Tech, University of Michigan, fantastic industrial engineering programs. You have Texas A&M and Purdue, which are very, very good as well. North Carolina State has a very promising industrial engineering program. If you want to go, again, a little safer, Northeastern, if you want to go safer and cheaper, then Sunny Buffalo is pretty decent. All right, how is RWTS? It's a terrific school. It's a terrific school. All right, I'm interested to pursue masters in project management, but I'm worried if there's too much scope for job opportunities. See, project management is a very much in demand sort of job role in the US. It also depends on where you come from, right? Like if you come from a software background, very different project management roles. If you come from a mechanical civil background, very different project management roles that open up. But project management in general is promising, but I wouldn't do a master's in project management. Number one, because a lot of project management courses are offered by the schools of professional studies, right? So they're not like a proper full-time master's programs. They're master's programs where even people will join part-time, and that's not a class you want to be in as part of as an international candidate. So instead, I would apply to an engineering management program. It's far better. Or if you come from a mechanical background, even through an industrial engineering, you can break into a project management role, right? An MS in project management is not that I would recommend. And in fact, if you do a little bit of research, you'll find that the MS in project management is offered by the School of Professional Studies and not by the School of Engineering or the School of Business usually. So I would not recommend an MS in project management, but project management as a role is quite promising in the US. So again, this is the kind of advice we give you, right? It's very tailored, very nuanced. That's what sets Gradvine apart from everybody else. And that's the reason why, schedule a free consultation call and start off with the process. A lot of people say that, oh, there are people who are doing it for 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 rupees. Why are you charging more? It is because of the quality that we bring in, and your master's degree is an investment. It's a huge deal when you're immigrating to a different country and you want the right advice and you're investing in the right advice, right? So like I said, over 300 students are getting that advantage. And the Gradvine advantage has proven to be significant in terms of the number of people we put into the top schools. Does Cornell consider GRE scores for their MEM program? Cornell, no. So last year, the wording was we will not even look at the GRE scores. They will not make a difference in the applications. I believe this year also it's the same. So for Cornell, GRE will not play a significant role. But be very careful. A couple of years ago, some universities changed that wording very, very slightly on the website. So you need to keep updated with that. I think by the end of this month, if they don't change it and the wording remains the same, then the GRE will not be a factor in the admission for Cornell. But be updated with that. And whenever that wording changes, or if it doesn't change, then consult with us, and then we'll tell you whether it's a good idea to apply without a score. But as of now, I think Cornell without a GRE should be okay. All right, I'm in third final year of BCA with a CGPA of 8.8, GRE 306. Which would be possible options, MS or MCS in CS or MSIS? I think an MCS in CS would be a viable option for you. But with a 3-year degree, you have to write to the universities and see whether you'll be eligible. Again, look, in theory, in terms of the subject-related eligibility, if you have DBMS, operating systems, data structures, object-oriented programming, which you might have, if you have these 4, you'll be eligible in terms of a subject standpoint. But whether the 3-year degree will qualify, you have to write an email for every single university that you're applying to. Your GPA is good, so you should end up in a decent place. But don't apply to any university without writing and inquiring about your eligibility. All right, how do you rate MS and CS from UC Davis? Why is it below various universities in California? UC Davis MS-CS is a very, very good program. Why is it below various unis in California? It's because there's a lot of great CS programs in California, right? Honestly, you'd be much happier being at UC Davis than in a CS program and a mid-tier university in some other state, because of the job opportunities in California at this point. A lot of good CS programs in California. That's why UC Davis will fall below the pecking order, right? Like you have Berkeley, you have USC, you have UCLA, you have UCSD. These are all not just the best programs in California, they're the best programs in the United States itself. So there's so many great options for CS in California. That's why UC Davis is perceived to be slightly lower rank, but it's a very, very good program. All right. Is it worth considering masters in the US, especially with respect to the H1B hassle? So, good question. Look, the H1B is a little bit of a risk that everybody takes pretty much when you're applying abroad, right? But then the reward is also very, very high. A master's in the US will always be worth it because of the 3-year STEM extension. So, there is no risk of you coming back with student debt. And typically what we've heard, even from graduates of very expensive universities, the payback period of that loan is about 2 years time, right? So you have an additional year where you can save whatever you're earning. In the H1B also, there is a much higher likelihood that you will get it, right? So I would still say the masters in the US is worth it. The H1B is a little bit of a risk, but again, there's no reward without risk, and the salaries in the US are absolutely terrific. The other thing is, even if you don't get the H1B, you get 3 years of work experience in the US with a well-reputed company there, and you are immersed in that work culture in the States, right? Which is at least related to STEM degrees, far advanced in terms of the kind of learning you're going to have. You become a very hireable asset anywhere. In fact, a lot of the companies, if your H1B doesn't get picked in the US, they'll be willing to shift you, to any of their other offices in Europe or even in India. So your career-wise, you're safe. And a lot of people, what they do is they just apply to a PR in Canada and they go anyways, right? So it could still be worth it, absolutely. H1B is a worthwhile risk to take. That's why so many people go to the US, because it just makes a lot of sense. All right, I plan to pivot to product management post in MEM. However, I don't have any product experience. Should I switch my job and plan to apply for the fall 25 intake? Look, product management is very, very broad. So you see, people who are working in core analytics become product managers. You see core software developers become product managers. You see core marketing guys become product managers, right? So product management as a description is so very broad that you bring in an expertise inherently with the kind of role that you're playing, right? unless you are, for example, even sales guys have a product management experience, because at the end of the day you need to understand consumer psychology and make the right pitch in order to get people to adopt your products, right? So product management, you bring in some skill and then the degree completes it. It's great if you work holistically as a product manager, but it's fine if you even bring in an individual skill set and jump into the program. It's not like it's going to affect your likelihood of getting in. In fact, freshers who have no work experience also have been getting into product management, right? So it's not necessary. It might help you, but if I were you, I wouldn't think that my work experience is entirely irrelevant. It's because product management is so very broad that there is some skill that you're going to bring to the table with respect to it. Unless you're in something like core supply chain or core finance or something of that sort, which may not be as relevant. But I suspect that there should be some relevant job experience that you bring onto the table, right? All right, I'm applying for fall 24 MEM. I haven't taken my GRE yet. Can I give it in the month of December? No. Uh, Also, if I don't apply in round one, what are the chances? Will it decrease significantly? Yes. If you're applying to MEM, and this is for all of you for any master's program, right? As international candidates for MS programs, please apply round one. If you apply round two, your chances of getting in reduce 70 to 80%, right? I'm not exaggerating the number. Round two, your chances reduced by 70 to 80%. You absolutely have to apply by round one. If you're not applying by round one, do not apply for a lot of these programs for the fall intakes, right? They fill up 70-80% of their classes during their first rounds, especially with international candidates. Do not take the GRE in the month of December, even if you are compelled to take it in the month of December due to your own personal timelines. Finish all the application materials well before that. Have your applications filled up, ready, locked and loaded, ready to submit, so that as soon as you have the score in hand, you can submit you can hit the submit button. It's okay if the official scores reach the university about 5-10 days after the deadline also, but make sure that you're not writing the GRE in December and starting work on the application materials after that. It becomes very, very challenging at that point to finish it. All right, the questions are flowing through, guys. Again, I will try my best over the next 15 minutes or so to answer all of them. If I do not answer your question, then please use the link in the comments to schedule a free consultation call. You can schedule it on www.gradvine.com, or you can also schedule a call by scanning the QR code. So no excuses now to not schedule that call. It will give you some great information and tailored advice. And also, like I said, hundreds of students, over 100 students have signed up just last month, and they're getting Gradvine's advantage in their applications in terms of fantastic SOPs, technically correct documents, and also beautifully balanced lists, right? So they are getting that advantage. Please don't lose that advantage. Make an investment in that, and you'll do terrifically well with your application process. All right. What are the? I'm applying for a master's in CS. Currently 7 sem. My GPA is 6.93. What are some good universities in the US? All right, the GPA is a little on the lower side. I cannot make a call specifically on that, because if the GPA is lower, then you have to count on your projects, internships, and if you have any research to cover you a little bit. For your profile, I think the location of the university matters more, because to be perfectly honest, with that GPA, top 15 CS becomes very, very difficult. So I would look at a lot of the California state universities, some of the universities in Texas, or universities on the East Coast, right, in proximity to New York and Boston, because that's where the jobs are. Cannot give you too many suggestions without understanding your profile more holistically. So schedule a free consultation call, and we'd love to help out. All right, the next question is the top MSBA programs. Best MSBA programs, you've got Columbia, you've got Carnegie Mellon with fantastic business analytics program. Like I was mentioning earlier, Purdue, UCLA, UCSD, University of Minnesota, all very, very good business analytics programs. ISB, MBA, or MEM in Dartmouth, if one wants to get into product management and would like to work for a few years and come back abroad to India. Years abroad and come back to India. Look, if you want to work abroad, then you have to get a degree abroad. The ISB MBA is not likely going to get you a job abroad. MEM in Dartmouth will most definitely get you a product management degree abroad, and you can work for a few years and come back. If you want to stay in India and you don't want to go abroad at all, then ISB is the better choice. Apples to oranges comparison. Both are great programs, terrific programs. They come with their own advantages and disadvantages. But overall, if you want to work abroad, then Dartmouth MEM is the best choice. All right. The next question is, actually, let me start highlighting these questions. I am from a tier 1 university with 9.3 GPA, have 2 years of work experience in an equipment manufacturer, 7.5 in IELTS, yet to write GRE. What are the top MEM programs should I target? So to be very honest, last year, profiles like yours have gotten into top 5 programs through us. In fact, profiles with lower GPAs and no work experience, and all sort of mix, we got around, like I love to say, over 30 into Duke, 25 plus into Cornell, 25 plus into Johns Hopkins. 11 out of a class of 50 at Dartmouth. 11 out of 15, 16 Indians, out of them 11 were ours. So yeah, in terms of MEM programs, you can target the very best. Top 5 is definitely doable, and the sheer number of people we put into the top 5 programs and our track record is unmatched. So it's like a match made in heaven. Schedule your free consultation call with us and get started with the process and get the Gradvine advantage, which is critical at this time of the year in terms of the application process. All right, MEM, which college is best? Comparing all aspects. University, UNT Denton, University of Dayton, University of Minnesota. These are not great MEM programs, my friend. If you force me to pick one out of these, then I will be pressed to say very difficult. Dayton maybe, but again, I'm not convinced at all. There are far, far better programs. In fact, a program which accepts similar sort of profiles that get into these places, CSU East Bay, is far, far better. I don't know if you applied there. All right. Can a good GRE score and TOEFL score and good letters of recommendation outweigh good low GPA to get into MS programs or computer science? To an extent, the GRE score will help, but if there is a lower GPA, then what is going to help you get into some good CS programs will be your projects and your internships and your research. So if you have those on point, then that is what will compensate for a low GPA and to an extent the low GRE. Good letters of recommendation. Look, everybody who does it properly will have a good letter of recommendation, will have a good SOP. So I don't see that as a application advantage, right? Because again, I think of it as a consultant. Everybody comes here among us students is going to have a strong document. But overall, in terms of the profile factors, your research, your internships, your projects, what will sort of outweigh a slightly lower GPA, but it also depends on how low the GPA is, right? Like if it's a 7.5, then I've known 7.5s who got into Georgia Tech as well because the rest of their profile is good. But if it's a 6.5, it's a whole different ballgame. GPAs are relative, right? So overall, if your GPA is low, however, it's your technical stuff that you've done outside the classroom that will help you out. All right. If someone has 5 years in the software industry, is it worth doing MS or try for H1B from the home country? Though we aren't sure that we getting an H1B, on your own from outside the US is a virtually impossible task, unless you have a company that is sponsoring that for you and willing to shift you out. Usually, never a practical choice. Whether you have 5 years in the industry, 7 years in the industry, the MS is worthwhile. But if you have a very reliable shot of a company sponsoring an H1B for you, then sure, go for it. But that's a very difficult challenge. Doing an MS and going down that path, even though more expensive, is a far easier process, far more reliable process. All right. All right, I'll be preparing for GRE and I feel I won't be able to complete the IELTS and GRE along with my application by November. Should I wait for next year or apply right? Depends on the program that you're looking for. Look, I wouldn't wait an entire year. If you're already starting with the process, then I think it is possible to finish it off by the end of November. For some programs, it's okay to stretch till the middle of December or end of December as well. So it varies on a case-to-case basis. I wouldn't take that call in September itself. I would still go ahead with it and prepare for the tests and get my recommendation letters and resume sorted as well. And then if it really isn't going through by the middle of October, that's when I would take the call. I wouldn't give up just yet, right? Again, I know starting early is very important. That's the ideal way to do it. But I've known people who started the entire process, written the GRE in December, and they got into places like Duke and Carnegie Mellon too. It happens, right? So don't give up already. It's still September. There is time. It's going to be a challenging couple of months, but it's very, very doable. I wouldn't give up right now and apply next year. By apply late, late varies. For computer science programs, even December end is late. For MEM, mid December is still fine. It's not too late at all. So it varies from program to program, profile to profile. Consult with us. We'll tell you what you should do, and it'll be very honest advice. We won't push. We tell a lot of people on the consultation calls that a master's program is not for you right now. Don't think about it. Come back to us next year, because we want to ensure you're good in that free consultation call. And of course, when you're paying us for the service, we always try and ensure you're good. That's why we have such terrific reviews overall, right? So consult with us, and then for your case, we'll help you take a very informed sort of call. All right. How different is the new GRE from the old one? Does it affect us in any way? See, I know this is an Ask Me Anything session, but I'm going to do a little bit of cheating. If you're already asking the question from YouTube, we did a very elaborate, well-structured video on how the GRE pattern is different, and we also conclude whether it's going to be easier or tougher, right? So and how the practice varies. All of that is in the YouTube video. Check it out on our YouTube channel. I think it's our most recent upload, and that will save some time, pretty much. Are ASU and UT Dallas good universities for MS and CS? They're very good, yes. All right. How difficult is it to get into an MIS course from chemical engineering? Possible, as long as you have 1 to 2 years of work experience in the software or IT side, or with any job role that involves working with data or any sort of coding, then it's possible. Doing MCA first year at NIT Trichy, want to drop out. Will NIT Trichy tag help me get an MS in CS in top 50 universities? It'll help you to a certain extent. Again, you're not going to have the degree, right, if you're dropping out, which is going to be a problem. The other thing that I'm slightly concerned about is, will you fulfill your 16-year education or 4 year of college education? It's a little complicated. I don't think it'll be a small advantage, not a significant one, I would say. All right. For getting early admission advantage, what deadline should I set up myself for completing the admission process? See, overall, if I have to give a one size fits all answer, I say mid-November. But honestly, if you're applying for some business analytics programs, some programs have a deadline October 15th itself, right? So it really varies from program to program. If you're applying for CS, then first week of November, mid-November. MEM, mid-November to end November, maybe even middle of December for certain schools is fine. But overall depends from degree to degree. But in general, one size fits all. Sometime mid-November is good. All right. How is the Robert H. Smith School of Business, University of Maryland, for Masters in Supply Chain Management? It's a very good program. Very, very good program. All right. How is the University of South Florida and San Diego State University for an MS in computer science? They're okay. Decent. San Diego State at least has a good location. How can one justify doing an MEM after an MBA from an IIM in engineering, looking to dive into PM? That's absolutely fine, right? I've had so many candidates just last year who are MBA grads and they worked for 7-8 years, and they've jumped into an MEM program because they want to get into that job market, pick up very specific current skills, and get a very tech and product focused education at this point in time. And also, you can be very honest saying that you want to navigate the job market in the US, for which the MEM is a great bet, especially to tackle the PM ecosystem in the US. So you can they don't even bother for a justification. You can just say, hey, I want to work for these sort of companies abroad, and this is the value I bring in with my past experience, and that's why I'm applying to your program. Be brutally honest about it, and it's okay. Is WES evaluation compulsory? Not for a lot of universities. For example, Carnegie Mellon MIS will ask for a WES evaluation. Texas A&M MIS will ask for a WES evaluation. Santa Clara and SGSU ask for a WES evaluation. But those are very, very few. unless you're very keen on the program, I would avoid the WES evaluation because it's expensive. All right, how is the management of technology program in Colombia? It's again not, as far as I know, it's not offered by the School of Engineering. The reason why the program exists is because Colombia's engineering management program, the MS&D, is so technical and quantitative heavy that they wanted to make a slightly more management oriented program there. See, look, everybody who goes there essentially gets a job. It's not a problem, but I wouldn't rate it on par with any of the top 7 MEM programs at least, because I'm sure that's the comparison that you're having in your mind. Universities ask for a personal statement along with the SOP. What should the personal statement entail? A personal statement is more about your own challenges and your journey. So, how has your upbringing, maybe your cultural background, economic background, shaped you as a person? How has it taught you to be more empathetic? How is it going to help you, bring your class and your classmates together and make the university atmosphere more inclusive? Maybe there is something about your personality and your profile that is very different. Maybe you play a particular sport and therefore you could contribute to particular club at that particular university, right? Maybe you go on trek, so you can organize a group trek for all of your classmates from a specific program. So it's more about who you are as a person and how your upbringing has shaped your personality, and how your upbringing makes you a very well-rounded personality who will assimilate seamlessly with the class and make the classroom a better learning atmosphere. So that's what the personal statement asks for. One big tip for you: if you're an Indian candidate, if the personal statement is optional, don't write it, because personal statement and diversity statement both. If it's optional, don't write it, because unless there is a really compelling sort of story about your background or your experiences, just writing it for the sake of writing it often leaves a negative impression, right? So we'll have to evaluate on a case by case basis. For an MS and CS, how would you evaluate the University of Houston? It's good because the location is good. It's reasonably priced. You'll definitely get a job after you graduate. Is it an elite brand? Maybe not, but it does the job. All right. For an MS and CS, what is more valued, the profile of the recommender or the quality of the LOR? Because professors whose profile is good may not have a good quality LOR. See, I don't know how it works in your particular college, but most professors I know, including from the IITs, just say write the content and send it to me. I'll just sign off on it. If the professor is writing the LOR themselves, the content is most likely not going to be very good, because they're not going to spend as much time about it. It's going to be a generic LOR. To be very honest, the content of the LOR is far more important. Unless there is very particular international professor where you've done international research, or a professor who's worked in collaboration with foreign universities in the past. If that's the case, then go for them. But if they're all doing the same work, even if it's a higher designation, the content of the LOR is more important. All right, how much amount should I show to the university to get I-20 in case I-20 amount is 65K? Is showing 65K sufficient, or should I show 65K plus? You can show exactly what's on the I-20. Some people say 10% more, 15% more, 20% more. There's no logic or science to this. As long as you're covering the I-20 amount, you're okay. Which is more preferable, MEM from US or MIM from European countries? Any day an MEM from US. Getting jobs in the US is far more likely. MEM is slightly more technical degree. It gives you a better skill set within the tech domain. And MIM is just very general. It's just a replica of an MBA, and an MBA only adds value when you have significant work experience and you're a domain expert. US is a better job market overall. MEM takes you into product, project, and supply chain and operations roles which are in demand. So I would say in terms of job opportunities, return on investment, no comparison between the two. MEM is far better, and there's no bias here. We help out with MEM applications, we help out with MIM applications, we help out with MBA applications. But overall, if you're an engineer with limited work experience, always consider an MEM. Far better. Hi, is it true that application starts on 15 December for MEM? No, applications are open. I mean, I wouldn't submit it so early, but applications are open. You're open to submitting them always. Fun fact: Johns Hopkins says deadline is Jan 15th. Last couple of years, people who applied in November got interview calls in November itself and got their admit in December. Right, so that's happened a lot. So it's not that it's open. In fact, if you want to hear it from the admissions committee members themselves, we are doing a webinar with Johns Hopkins. You can find the links to that in our social medias. You can sign up. So it's the admissions guys who actually review your applications, who are coming and interacting with students of Gradvine, exclusively. So if you're in this live, if you're one of the Gradvine family, listening to any of our webinars, listening to our live sessions, getting information from us, you're welcome to sign up for that webinar for absolutely free and directly interact with mentors from the Johns Hopkins MEM program. In fact, they're very pleased because over 25 candidates in that MEM class were Gradvine students in the past, and they were so happy with the quality that they're coming back to do this with us again. So yeah, come down, ask your questions. If you're an MEM aspirant, sign up for that webinar, and more importantly, get the Gradvine advantage with your applications. You're investing your money to push yourself to that school, which is going to be better than what you might have hoped for, right? So that's the Gradvine advantage. That's the reason why people pay us so much, in the hundreds, because we give them that advantage in terms of the application process. So please, please, please don't hesitate to sign up with us and start fast. All right. Would you recommend MEM at Cornell for someone interested in product or project management versus program at Columbia? A firm definitive yes. I would recommend for product and project management Cornell, Duke, Dartmouth over Columbia any day. All right. Is it okay to write the GRE in October or November if you have a SOP ready within October? Yeah, it should be okay as long as it's your final attempt. If it's your final attempt, you should be fine. All right, I applied to RWTH last year and got an admit, but thought of taking some time. Will I get it again if I want to start up? And if I want to start up there, will they help me? I don't know if you'll get it again. I don't know if you considered deferring the admit, because most people just pay a deposit and defer the admit. So you have the admit in hand, but you just say you'll join a year later. If I want to start up there, will they help me? That's where visa norms come in. In order to stay in Germany, of course, the stay back period is there. You can stay back and look for a job for a significant period of time. But after that, if you want a work permit, you'll need a company that will sponsor it. So even if the university wants to help you out, I don't know if the visa norms would permit it, right? So it is unlikely, pretty much. All right, I'm currently in 12th grade. I hope to get to med school in the US. Is getting to a US med school from Canada bachelor's doable? I'm a US citizen. It is doable. I'm sure you know by now that med school or medicine is not an undergraduate degree in the US. It's a postgraduate degree. So you need to do 4 years of anything related to medicine, a bio major, biochem major, anything of that sort, and then apply to med school later on. It's possible to do a pre-med degree from Canada and then apply to med school in the US afterwards. It is possible. You can keep Canada as an option, but I would still keep the US, as a safe bet, because if you get into a good, pre-med program in the States, then maybe you'll get into med school in the same university itself. That internal, application is going to give you an advantage because they already know you. You already been a part of the university ecosystem. And the next thing is, if you are at a US pre-med program, which has a history or a legacy of, sending students to great med schools in the past because of the kind of professors that are there, the kind of recommendation letters that you get, then the US is a better bet. I would keep Canada as a plan B, but there are enough and more pre-med programs in the US which will serve your purpose. I don't see that much of an advantage, considering Canada here. All right. Thank you. I'm going to do a little bit of shameless marketing here. I think Joel is one of our students right now. So again, we didn't ask him to do this. It was completely his choice. Could corroborate about the support provided by Gradvine. Absolutely fine so far, and everything's going smoothly. Thank you, Joel. And once again, if there's any problem with the process, if there's any hiccup, anything of that sort, your account managers, the entire team at Gradvine is there to take care of you. We never have an argument with the customer in terms of if they want something more in the process. We are always there to help them out and give them more. So that's the advantage that we give you. um, Sorry, I think the stream broke down. Or All right, I'm back. So yeah, we are always there to listen to you, to help you out with the process, and it's just like your seniors, your friends helping out, right? It's not an uncle or an auntie who is going to do a rigid sort of process. We know our job, we do it well, and then we are listening to you. We want to ensure the best for you, and we want the experience of the application process to be smooth. So thank you for that, Joel. I'm glad your process is going well, and it will continue to go well as well. For sure. All right, if with universities accepting both IELTS and TOEFL, which one is recommended to give for the USA? It doesn't matter. They don't differentiate between the two. Just give whatever you feel is easier, what is more convenient. Only thing is TOEFL score reporting might be a little easier. So you're fine with both. All right. All right. What is the minimum GRE required for MEM at Duke, Purdue, and Cornell? Look, there is no minimum GRE as such. In fact, they don't even state it. Look, I've had people with a 303 get into Duke. I've had people with a 305 get into both Purdue and Cornell. It depends on the rest of your profile, right? That being said, MEM is getting far more competitive. For you to be comfortable, right, with the GRE, for you to know that, okay, with this GRE score, I won't get rejected because of the GRE. 315 is a good bet. I wouldn't say it's the minimum. Like I've told you, just with our students, we've seen 303s, 305s get into these places. But with a 315, you're in a very comfortable spot, if that makes sense. All right. Which is better for ROI, Northeastern MS in AI versus Sunny Buffalo MS in data science? See, tough choice. I would say Northeastern is for sure the better school, but Sunny Buffalo works out so much cheaper. And because data scientists are in, good demand, and even the locational disadvantage is not as much with Sunny Buffalo when the Northeastern's in the heart of Boston. Purely bang for buck, I would say Sunny Buffalo better ROI, but Northeastern's a better school. All right, I'm going to answer the last couple of questions, guys, and wrap up this live. Again, I'm sorry if I cannot, answer some of your questions. There are, around 15, 20 questions pending. And I skipped certain questions because, I answered a lot of questions from the same users. I'm trying to diversify. Again, I don't have any bias towards anything. So just trying my best to answer my questions. Again, like I said, if you're not able to answer your questions, you can schedule a free consultation call and reach out to us, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. MS and BA versus MIS job prospects, very, very similar. Very, very similar. Very difficult to pick between the two. Whichever curriculum you like the most apply there. The university you get into, the university you get into matters a lot more. All right, there's a question. Any update on this? I'm sorry, Himanshu. I don't know if I skipped your question or missed it. But yeah, please do schedule your free consultation and answer it, because I'm not able to recall what question you asked. All right, how are the programs at Harvard for MS in data science and MS in health data science? Good programs. I still wouldn't consider them, maybe elite, even though it's Harvard. Again, anything Harvard offers will be great, but it's also going to be expensive. There could, be better alternatives that are, potentially cheaper. The best data science programs, in my view, would be, NYU, Columbia, and the ones at Carnegie Mellon, right? Would you recommend UT Austin and Dartmouth for biology pre-med undergrad? I would absolutely recommend them, but getting in is very difficult. Maybe you have the profile, but they're terrific programs. All right, last question for the day, guys. It was supposed to be 30 minutes, but I've stretched to 45. Hey, Sreekar, considering you're a mechanical engineering undergrad in 2023, which course would you select for a master's? All right, I'm a mechanical engineer grad only, but I'm a mechanical engineering grad from 2014, so I know what dilemma you're in. Unfortunately, despite being a mechanical engineer, I cannot state with any level of confidence that mechanical engineering is very promising abroad unless you go to a top 10. If you're a mechanical engineer, I would recommend you pivot into industrial engineering, a very powerful area if you want to get into operations, manufacturing, and supply chain, where there's a lot of hiring going on. Or you could also consider applying and going to an engineering management if you want to shift away from mechanical core and manufacturing companies, more into the product and tech side. These are the two degrees that I would consider. Core mechanical engineering, unless you are very, very deeply interested in it, I wouldn't recommend. Material science also is quite popular at this point in time if you have an interest in that field. but industrial engineering, engineering management, far better for you to pivot at this point in time, to be very honest. All right. So thank you so much for joining in, guys. Again, a terrific response for the AMA session. Yeah, really heartwarming to see that you guys trust our advice so much and you tune in week in, week out. Even last Saturday, our SOP masterclass had 463 people signing up, with 272 people joining in, for the webinar and taking our advice. So really heartwarming for us, and extremely pleasing that you trust our advice so much. So schedule your free consultation with us. Start off with the process. The Gradvine advantage is significant. Last year, we placed scores of candidates into the top 10 programs for different degrees. Like I said, over 25 people into Cornell, 25 into Johns Hopkins, over 50 people into North Carolina State, over 100 into Northeastern. So the Gradvine advantage is significant. Over 300 people have signed up with us already, and they're getting that advantage with just 110 signing up last month. So don't delay it any further. Schedule your free consultation, get the advice on that consultation. And after that, if you're convinced and you want to sign up for any of our paid services, be sure to do that. And we'd love to help you out through the process. It's a very critical 3 months coming your way. It's 3 months that could dictate how the rest of your life goes. And the kind of university that you can do is going to play a significant role. So we'd love to be on your side, rooting for you, pushing for you, giving you every single competitive advantage possible to try and get into that elite dream university that could change your career and elevate it, right? So thank you so much for joining in. It's been a pleasure interacting with all of you. We look to see a lot of free consultation calls from you, and we would love to work with you as well. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to end the live right now.